and Ron. This is Lynn, and you are? Hello, are you lost? Hello, I'm over here. Hey, look over this way.
Oh, it's our people.
Yeah. Oh, how are
I'm
you
Lynn's
today?
co-host, Brian.
Yeah. Oh, I keep forgetting what to put next to mine. Host Lynn, whatever.
Yeah.
Just call me Lynn, and we'll call you my co-host. How's that? Whatever.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah. Well, it's your show, and you can click off me anytime. So yeah, I'm the guy that's
no. As a matter of fact, when you said you were gonna be late, and I had Kelm on there, I already felt so lost without you. Ain't no joke. They ain't no replacing you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So truly, this show does not happen unless you are here, because you and I share all our vulnerability, and our bond and our friendship is something that I value so much, and it's just building on it. It's unfolding in front of the camera, and I just love it. I just absolutely love it. So
I agree. It's
so
yeah. I'm not even gonna compare it to Kelm and her hair. Yeah, that's just not gonna happen.
So again, it's not like I was trying to find your clone so you could be cloned. I mean, this is real and raw, and you got to be here, dude. You got to be here.
There's a reason why my mom and dad only had one of me. Okay.
You know what's funny? Because before the show, what did I say? I said they broke the mold with you.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah.
I know. I'm going to try to make you push in less than 2 minutes of the show.
The universe is going to be completely different forever upon mankind when you are born.
And yes, you're standing true to that.
I love it. I don't know how to respond to that moment. That's wonderful.
I'm glad to see you got your black shirt on, but you got a shirt, a different color shirt today.
Very nice. I got. It's not salmon, as my girlfriend's dad would say. It's more of like an orange tangerine. So I'm
it looks peachy to
with
me.
my lighting here. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't wash me out, but not make me look like a carrot.
Actually, you look a little peachy to me.
Well, I don't know if that's a personal trait or just an honest confession. I don't really know.
I don't know. I don't know any of that
That's
stuff.
completely white. Yeah, we'll go with that right there. So
yeah, there you go. Now it looks like you changed your shirt from a few minutes ago.
Maybe I did. I got David Copperfield running through these bones, I tell you.
Yeah, what is it? America's Got Talent. They had that person that could change their clothes really quick and whatnot. So, look it's Tracy.
Tracy's here.
Tracy.
Happy Wednesday, Tracy.
Happy Wednesday. I've been so busy with this women summit. Things are happening over there. Women are being empowered, and people are speaking up, and it's just been very, very, very interesting. And I didn't realize the topic we had till now. Yeah. And I have a lot to say about this topic as far as the power of silence. There's power in it, but then there's another side to that. You realize that, right?
I only try to look at the good in things, and all I can say is that in my own life, I don't make this a part of my daily discipline. Is really to be silent on purpose, right? And at any time of day, depending on how your life works, I don't do it enough, and I need to.
Well, I've used the power of silence a lot in my life, and I guess at 55 now I'm using my voice, but I still say before I use my voice, most of the time, silence has, I guess, how would I say that I would stay silent until I can compose myself,
right?
In situations, but sometimes you can't do that in different situations. So I mean, the pause and the silence can, depending on, there's times to use the power of silence, and then there's
let's be clear for today's discussion. We are not talking about shame. We are not talking about holding back from your feelings. We are talking about the power of silence from a standpoint of good you do for yourself. You get in touch with yourself. You read every day. you take some time out throughout the day, whenever that works best for you, to just be whole with yourself, to be true to yourself, right? To think, to journalize, whatever that is. This has nothing to do, and I'll probably repeat it a little bit later on, this has nothing to do with shame or any of that, right?
Right.
This has nothing to do with that, because we're talking about self-help, not,
Right.
you know,
Right.
you know, and
But
obviously it's a good distinction, because the power of silence, okay, silence, and then whatever connotation that comes to mind is what you're going to think this is about.
right. But there's a time to be silent a lot and be that with one, and then you have to take that action.
Right.
You
But
know, you got to take.
I think though that where I want to go with this topic is the time you allocate every day to just be with yourself, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's reading, whether it's journalizing, any of that. And it's like I can speak from my own, is that my days don't go as well as they could unless I take time for myself. Because I know that I'm a morning person, and then if I don't do it in the morning, after the day starts, I'm dealing with other people's things, right? And so
Right.
for me to get that back once it's gone, why not create it as a foundation where my day doesn't start until I do this for myself, you know? And obviously, if you have children or dogs or a spouse or whatever, it's a little bit different. But that is something that you have to create if it's ever going to be yours, right? And it's a habit. It's got to be a discipline if you want to make it that.
It is, and I find that when I get discombobulated, that's why I try not to stay on Clubhouse late.
Right.
You know, because then you're grumpy, you don't get enough sleep, and blah blah blah. It is a ripple effect,
Right.
and the thing is you barter on a lot of things, but some things I find now you shouldn't barter, and that is the time for yourself. Like you know, if I only had the knowledge when I was younger that when I had my paycheck that I should have paid myself kind of concept. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same concept with having that power of silence, having that time of silence to say, you know, this is, you know, and it just centers you. It just centers you, you know, to be grateful, to be like, I'm worth that time. And, you know, you can multitask a lot of things, but not having that silence to yourself and having that conversation with yourself can really change
Well,
your whole.
no wonder why people get run down in life. Because you're spending who knows 1 to 10 times or whatever it is more time and attention on anybody else than you're on yourselves, and then you wonder why you're just worn out and you just need
Mhm.
sleep, right?
Yeah.
Because you're attending to everybody else besides yourself, and no, attending to yourself is a selfish thing. Yes, it is, but you can't be your best for anybody else unless you're best for yourself first.
and
Period.
and that's why they say, like, you got to put that mask on yourself. You got to go ahead and take care of yourself, or you're not really at your full potential to help anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
You really,
Absolutely.
you know, including the fact that I'm doing pretty good on what I'm doing. I'm actually in the I'm getting in the motion that I'm actually like 6 pounds from a number that I haven't been in the scale for like 2 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go look at the record, but you know, it's one of those things where if you don't look at where you're going and your target of what's valuable, you are valuable. You are the one that if you don't fix your things, how are you fixing or showing up to the world? You're doing a half-ass.
Well, and consider that how you show up in the world starts with you. Everything that you're about, proper
Yeah.
rest,
Well,
proper
and
nutrition, all of it. And you know, how do you determine if something's important to you? You write it down, you think about it, right? And it's
well,
a well-oiled machine if it's going to work well.
well, I just got to say though, Brian, but being a mom and being a woman is a little bit different than men because we have that burden of the children, or we have the burden
Right.
of being, you know, having a little bit extra on our plate than, you know, like I've got my granddaughter here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, and it's great because it still reminds me when I had my small children. So it's good for my psyche. However, you know, it's the skills of saying this can be done and not using excuses.
Right.
But that's when you really have to look at carve that craving. And it used to be that before COVID, it used to be that I would go work out in the gym for 2 hours in the morning. And
Mm-hmm.
then I would babysit or I would do whatever. And I haven't done that in a year. So that's been a little difficult for me. But I'm seriously thinking of that shot or something, because my life's got to change here soon. But again, it really, the silence and having that time to yourself is something I crave, and something
And here,
if I don't.
and there's a couple misunderstood things. Is that number one? It doesn't have to be. You create what it looks like, but you're in full control of this. Number two, you're not going to get any validation or agreement out in the world for it.
Right.
Because we waste time every day. It amazes me. And, when I, over the years, of talking to prospective wedding couples and just couples of being around them all the years, is that just because they're working on their wedding doesn't mean that they're doing anything productive or anything with, where they're moving it forward. Right. It blows my doors off, but like, yeah, you have the time to create your wedding, but the reptilian brain can't decipher if it's actually moving my wedding forward or if it's just a comfortable place to be.
It's just like we said it yesterday, and it's worth repeating today, that we forget, do something little today. And that's why it's great working with you, because you probably take little bite size of the whole production of it, so that in transition, it's already laid out.
Yeah.
It's the foundation. I mean, like, and relationships or whatever, it's all comes down to that. What can I do today to turn that needle, like you say, like you coin?
Well, I mean, it's just like anything. It's like going on a first date, a second date. I don't know, building anything, right? You do it day by day. You don't do it all in a day. And I think that this right here, this 3 pounds of matter we have in our brain is either our advocate or our adversary. That's it. It's depending on how we view it, how we frame everything, right? Because it's like how this gets going in the bad way is when people are like, oh, I don't know if I have time for that. I don't know, whatever. And it's like all of a sudden they tell themselves they can't. Well, then the more you believe that, then guess what? That's what's going to happen.
You know what? If I got $1 for every time somebody would say, oh, I'm busy.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Busy doing what?
And then it's like this. So Brian, just play along with me. So Brian, did you watch that good movie on Netflix?
I did, and it was awesome. And I had popcorn and caramels.
Do you tell me you watched the one where they have 24 episodes per season and they have 11 seasons?
Yeah, and it's got that one guy with the red hair.
Yeah, that Glenn Morshower?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Shit. Well, when did you find the time to watch it?
Yeah.
And that's just it, man. I did everything I could to get to season 5, which is supposed to be good. And I got to tell you, I got so much going on. I can barely even watch that before I go to sleep.
I mean, here's the thing, is that when we look at society at large, what we're talking about today goes 100% up against what society wants us to do.
Mm-hmm.
Faster, quicker. I mean, I didn't sleep really well last night. I was watching your show with Christopher. And
did I do a good job or what?
Yeah, you were geeking out quite a bit, which was great. And all those surprises that you had with different video clips, that was really cool.
Thank you.
But it's like there's more things out there that can grab our attention than we ever choose, right?
Right.
But how much of that actually takes any comprehension? All we have to do is press play.
Right.
But it just blows my doors off that it's like, what are you taking control of today?
Yeah.
Are you gonna take control of the first couple hours of your day?
Yeah.
Knowing that, and obviously everybody's day is a little bit different and they all change, but knock on wood, you're gonna wake up tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be in control of your day, or is your day gonna control you? Well, it's a choice. And even by not choosing, it's still a choice. And so I cannot tell you, and I'm only one person here, but there is nothing more beneficial than to wake up before the sun gets up, have a cup of coffee, begin my day in silence, because it doesn't take very long for this to get going, and then I'm dealing with everything that there is, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, right?
Yeah.
But to be grounded instead of, having an anxiety attack like I had a little bit earlier today, right?
Aww, I'm sorry.
I mean, it happens, and I'm good now, but it's like, all the more reason for these things that we have to have that until they are non-negotiable to us, we don't know the power they have.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly.
Good morning,
Hey,
Larry.
Larry.
Or good afternoon, Larry.
Yeah. So no, you have a good point there, and it's just like, which, by the way, I got to rewind real quick for Christopher Rush. Can you see why I had to bring him to our show? Like, we were just like, we had to just like finish, and it was just perfect. I mean, his life and topics and stuff, it was just great. And I'm excited to say Christopher's going to show up with us this Friday. That's going to be awesome. But anyhow, truly, so I'd rather watch a show like ours, which, like I said, which, by the way, soon I'm going to be really pushing everybody going to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get to 100 so that we just have my name there and we get our shows. But that's what we're excited about. Sometimes making a choice of watching something that can stir your mind like this in quiet time is better than Netflix before nighttime. I mean, you got to really just put down what excites you, whatever. But having that quiet time for yourself, you owe that to yourself. It costs you nothing, but it's priceless of what it can do for you for the day. Right. We don't take enough time to just be silent. Nope. And to, if you know what's cool about silence, and I don't care if you're a Christian, I don't care whatever. I don't care if you don't believe in meditation or whatever. But when I say silent, guess what happens? You can't tell me you don't hear the little voices and whispers in your head talking to you.
Right.
Hello, McFly. If you just stay quiet, you might find out that might be what you need to know what to do in life. We don't listen to those gut feelings. We don't listen to those whispers that can change your life. And the people that, this should be a clue to some successful people when you listen to them. They go, I had a dream, or when I was thinking, this is what I heard. Well, I'll bet you that's the dollars. It wasn't just in a dream, but they took time to be silent. That when they said, I had a vision, or I was thinking about this, I bet you it came when they were really, really being still, just to hear what comes up. Mm-hmm. And we got a comment here. Hi, Mark. Thanks for being here.
Did you say anxiety? Let's get high on stress. Hey, I do agree, Brian. Silence is truly golden and gets you fully prepared for the day. But Mark, thank you for commenting. The thing is that one day isn't going to do anything, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're back in the same stuff. Mm-hmm. But the movement is going to happen when you do it 20, 30, 50 days in a row, and you just do it.
I lost your visual. Your camera's off. Are you still there? There you are.
So okay. The only thing that's going to make any difference is if you do it every day, right? Because when you look at a full 5 days or 7 days a week, if you have one day that was great, and then all of them, it's as if you didn't do it at all.
Right. And I'll agree with that. I'm doing these confident tone things, and because of the women's conference, I've been like having that on at night instead of my waves. And it's like, I need to have my, my quiet meditation time, and it's like, it takes 21 days to get that habit. And so, well, check this out. He says, I do it every day, brother.
Excellent. Good for you.
That's
Good
awesome.
For you.
That's awesome. So,
because let me declare this to everybody, because if you don't take this time for yourself, something or someone will take it from you without you actually even knowing who did it.
And you'll be miserable. You'll be miserable, and you'll wonder why. And your whispers are telling you, you didn't find time for us to talk. You didn't have time for us just to calm down before the crazy day.
Correct.
I mean, you can't tell me you don't have those little voices in your head. They just gnaw. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to blah, blah, blah. I know that every night before I travel, or before I have to have Ray Lee here, my granddaughter, or anything, I go to sleep thinking, oh, I need to do all this stuff. So I put my alarm on to say, well, and then I have the dogs. So sometimes I am, like today, I've been up since 4:00, but I'll get up at 3 a.m. and I tell myself, well, Lynn, you need more sleep. You just went to bed at 12 o'clock tonight.
Right.
Oops, 3 hours. So then I'll let the dogs out and I'll go back to sleep. But I got to get up before Ray Lee gets here to have that quiet time with myself.
I think
You know?
that I think that everybody's a little bit different, and everybody has their own different journey in life and how they're going to get there based on what matters to them. But it's like, if you, man, you want to talk about getting clear with yourself, because
Yeah.
then you're able to shut all the other crap off, all the other noise, all the other industry garbage, all the other distractions, and just anything that is there to keep you away from where you need to be. And I know that every industry has cooler talk, but it's like there's so much garbage that has nothing to do with what you're there to do or the difference you're there to make.
So
And people get roped in this stuff as if they get roped in as like if they can't see it, and then they wonder why they're upset, or because it's not their opinion that they're there to share. They're trying to win somebody over to it, or they don't agree with somebody. It's like, shut all that crap off.
you
Live your
know,
life, do your thing, and the rest will come to you.
it kind of cracks me up because when you think about the fact that how pissed off would you be if somebody that your spouse or your boyfriend or your partner, whatever, how mad would you be if every morning they didn't take time to say hi to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Guess what? What do you think your conscious and subconscious do? They're
Right.
pissed off at you. And you know what? They'll gnaw you all day long because you avoided them. Think about
Well,
it that way.
well, let's just look at the power of silence from what it'll give you, right? You probably
Mhm.
won't be so edgy with people. Number two, you're not going to be following random conversations. Number three, you're gonna have all the self concept, the self belief, your self understanding. All of it is going to be better because you're looking in. And probably you're going to trust yourself a lot more. You're going to believe in yourself a lot more to be like, I can get that done today. I can do that. I can push the
Yeah.
envelope for myself because I've taken time to check in with myself versus the minute I wake up, everything is frantic. I got to get all this stuff done, and none of it's about me. How long can somebody go in life doing that without shutting down?
Okay, so some people are sitting here and go, well, you know what, Lynn, I like my sleep in the morning because I used to be this way when I'd go to work and stuff, that
Right,
I'd like to sleep right till the clock, the alarm clock went off, so to
right.
speak. Well, then you know what? Take a half an hour before you plan to go to sleep, go lay down in your bed and have some quiet time then. So it
I
should
mean,
be before or after you sleep.
even consider, I'm not a big fan of taking drugs unless you have to, but melatonin. If you need to sleep, do it. Take a half a
Yeah,
pill, right?
yeah,
Lynn and I are very much the same, and I'm sure to all of our listeners that it's like once this gets going, it doesn't matter how little or how much you slept, you got to go. You got to get
yeah,
up and do something.
yeah,
But eventually, that is going to tap out.
right.
It doesn't matter your nutrition, doesn't matter how much coffee you had or whatever. Eventually, this is going to tap out. And what are you going to do in that space? But it's like you give me a 7 hour great rest, I'm on fire that day, and I'm not
Well,
making myself wrong.
Well, let me tell you, I've cut down from having tea in the morning with I I'm gonna be vulnerable here and be really embarrassed and tell you something. So here I go. I would make my mug, it's 20-ounce mug, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would put no joke. Don't judge me. This is a judge-free zone, but I kid you not. I would put 8 teaspoons of sugar in my
Oh my
hot
God.
tea.
Wow. Yikes.
Yeah, yeah. And I knew that was really super bad. It was something my mother started me on. It's just really bad. And then I wouldn't eat, but I'd be on a freaking sugar high, which was really bad for me. Really bad for me. And so, of course, I stopped that a while ago, and of course, it helps with weight loss and blah, blah, blah. But I can't believe I was killing myself with 8 teaspoons of sugar
That's
in a
nuts.
20-ounce thing. Like, that's super bad, you guys. Don't judge me. I'm forgiving myself. I forgave myself, but I'm telling on myself too. Like, holy shit. 8 teeth was a freaking, it's like, and that wasn't brain food. That was, I feel so much better not having the sugar. I basically have put, now, mind you, with my condition, sugar usually is something that doesn't bother me, but it's a bad freaking thing to have.
Mhm.
And now that I've taken myself off of like a lot of sugar, I have more clarity. And I couldn't tell you how happy I am without having that sugar. I don't even crave, see, because for the longest time I was noticing that what I was doing is mentally, even though I wasn't craving it, I was mentally saying, I want that tea. I want that tea. I want that sugar. I want that sugar. And I just watched my behavior. Like it controlled me. I got to have my tea. I got to have my tea. To I'm not having tea. I mean, hopefully I can just go to the raspberry flavor with no sugar at all. But I ain't ready to go there because then I'll be thinking tea and I'll be thinking about how it tastes good with that sugar. So I've left go 8 teaspoons of sugar in a 20 ounce. That was bad, guys. So, but I do feel so much better without that sugar. And like you
Good.
said, it just, anyways, enough of that rant.
So what are some things that speak to you about the power of silence? Like what you would do in a day, or what you would do, like what time of day that is, or what things you would consistently do in that block of time.
I have crept my power of silence in between the fact that I do wake up in the middle of the night,
Okay.
whether it's because of whatever, and I take that time to just uh, have that time, and then I realize that if I say no, I need more sleep because depending on this or that, I realize I've skipped those times, and just like you said, Brian, when you don't, you're wondering, what did you do today? I mean, it's as simple as taking even 15, start out with 5 or 10 minutes to yourself, before you take the hour. And it's just amazing that if you just sit there and just go, okay, I'm going to see what I can think of or what comes to mind. And then have the nice talk to yourself. Just listen to yourself and don't get the stress away and all that stuff. At least for me, it's helped me to realize that it's like centering. And for me, this is the crazy thing because I have arthritis. And like after I sit in this chair for an hour, I am so stiff I can barely get up. Right. But when I have peace and tranquility and I actually like thank my body and my knees that should have had knee replacement forever, I'm going to probably see about that this year for at least one of my knees. I'm telling you, when I say thankful for my body to get me this far that it has, I say to myself, okay, thank you. I can literally walk better like I have no pain or nothing. So that alone has made a big difference for me. And when I get up real fast and I don't give any gratitude to my body for everything it's been through, I seen the difference. Now call me crazy if you want, and I don't care. But I'm telling you, there is a difference to just the simple things of just appreciating your body and your
Mhm.
functioning. So silence is important to me. I notice the difference when I don't.
To me, it has everything to do with cleaning out what doesn't need to be there. The simplicity of it. First couple hours in the morning after I wake up, it's quiet, it's serene. I'm up. I beat my or I got up before the day got up, before the sun came up, and just being clear mentally, right? Re re I don't know, reintroducing what I need to do that day, setting myself up for looking at it a second time, and just you you're up before the day gets going, so you don't feel like you're playing catch up.
Right. Yeah.
And the more simple this is up here, the simpler the day goes. The
Yeah.
more stress that's up here, the more anxiety, the more whatever, the more the day's going to be a grind. And
Yeah.
so, and obviously, that's all up here. It doesn't mean it's happening out in the external world.
Yeah.
But how do you
I,
know the difference unless you give yourself that time?
I feel bad. There's this guy, he's become a good friend of mine that I met on a dating site. We actually haven't met face to face, but we talk and blah, blah. But this poor guy has a schedule that I can't even imagine. Like he works from 5 at night till 6 in the morning. And
Well,
he's got three smaller children. They're like my grandkids' ages. And it's like, I'm like, and so, and then he has them every now and then and whatever. So, I mean, like, I still can't believe how this guy, I don't even know where he finds time to sleep, between the schedule he has. So I take those scheduling, considerations for those people that have the night shift, and how they find out, or find whether they sleep at the begin or when they leave work in the morning, or if they sleep before they go to work, like I don't even know where you get that. But I will say this, I bet if they tried to have the silence and the time for themselves, that probably would help them so much in
Right.
that, and we appreciate people that have to work that swing shift, because I can't even imagine what that would be like. I mean, I used to do it when I was younger, but that was like 40 years ago,
Right.
30 years ago. So,
Yeah.
but it really is amazing how 30 minutes, 10 minutes, just try it and see
But
what you think.
it's like I think that even then, just sit down, just be in action of doing it. Remove time from it, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're going to think about that and be like, oh, it's not long enough. What if
Yeah.
everything about the quantitative time, you're going to wrap your brain around it versus doing the physical thing of actually,
Yeah.
just being there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it blows my doors off that people will think to the nth degree about, oh my God, I don't know if I can do that for 15 minutes, but you'll waste 15 minutes.
Netflix
What? Yeah,
series,
exactly.
40-minute
And
series.
it's interesting. It's like something that can make you a healthy person and something that can better your life is something you don't give much attention to, but you'll blow your time on a show without any awareness about how long it is. Blows my doors off. Completely blows my doors off.
You
And it's
know,
like, that's how I would think, because I'm not really time driven. But at the same time, it's like, ooh, yeah, I got 8 minutes to watch this. Okay, well, is that thing more important than you being clear up here for the whole day?
I've had more of a mind shift with getting rid of the sugar, getting rid of the things that impact my clarity to be me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's just, and I love this time of year because this is the time of year. Usually I start after school starts in September. This is like all my kids growing up, and this is just my format. I would, forget about COVID, but it would have been that school time, even till now. I would see my transformations. This is when I would lose 100 pounds. Is from school year September, going every day in the dark to go and swimming, to knowing that here is March and my transformation of wearing baggy clothes and waiting to get my spring clothes on, and just the fact that what I think this weekend we changed the time zone, which is a killer sometimes for me. But it's one of those things where you just realize that when you take and do one little good habit, how all of a sudden all the other little habits go into place.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such an empowering thing. That's why I said to people, when you go ahead and you change to for your health, don't do it drastically, do it gradually, with the intention of not killing your system or killing your momentum. And I got to tell you that, I'm seeing really good weight results, and I'm doing a little exercise, but not as much as I know I'm going to do later. Because if you do everything, then you got to keep it up there. It's such a trick. I see Mark made a comment here earlier.
Amen, Brian. You control. You're not another. You're not another human being. Align with that supreme source and embrace the clarity during silence. Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
if you're not clear, how are you going to be clear for anybody else?
Yeah, exactly. And so I just I love that I have forgotten who I am this past year, but not really. I mean, I've contoured myself to I've pivoted, I should say, to contoured. That wasn't even, there goes another word. But anyways, I pivoted to the fact that even though I couldn't do my swimming or I couldn't do these things, I found other things. And I mean, doing these live streams and actually giving value and talking about just talking and stuff gave me different avenue and of feeling good to have my voice again and to make a difference in people's lives, because it was making a difference in my life. So again, it's just you've got to find that time by yourself to know. It's your compass. It's your compass, to your moral compass, to be nice to yourself. And it
Correct.
starts with that time alone.
Well, it blows my doors off about how many days that can go by where you don't feel like there's any hope or any ability, and we don't think enough about ourselves and our well-being, but we'll quickly allocate our time to another business deal or whatever, and it just doesn't work after a while. You feel so empty and alone, right?
What did I say the other day about the questionings? There's questionnaires that even when I would self questions that I didn't even know the answer, because I was like, what the hell? I don't know what color I like. I don't know what I like here or there. And it's pretty pathetic when you think you don't even know yourself. But a lot of people don't know themselves, and that's the problem. If they would take time for the power of silence, they would get to know themselves a little bit better and how they tick. Even if you sit there and you reflect on your past day or the day you have ahead, how's your behavior going to be different than yesterday to get a better result? Or are you going to stay in the Groundhog Day situation?
Correct. And there's two questions I ask myself every day, and they're pretty universal to everything. But any question that you can ask of yourself that you're the one that has the answers, and it doesn't belong out in the external world. But the two questions I ask myself every day is, number one, what are you going to do about it? And number two, how can you afford not to? And so touching on the second one is, how can you afford not to?
Yeah.
You've got so much on the line every day to not be in a great space, to not be clear about yourself, why you do what you do, how you do it, and to be the whole human being that you are. You're cheating yourself and you're cheating everybody.
You know,
And the toxicity comes in by the repeatedly not doing it. And then it's all those things that you tell yourself because of your lack of not being centered, not
it's just,
taking those times for yourself.
look at the people that get hurt or injured and they're forced to
Yep.
take the time. Why do you think they tell you to rest?
Right.
Because without your mental capacity to have those talks to yourself that I will walk again, I will do this, I want to do this, I would be grateful to do that again, I would be grateful. It gives you that time to give your soul and your spirit what you need to get you the will to get going. I've spent more time in hospital. Even my last daughter, that I had 40 days and 40 nights in the hospital by myself with that child.
Wow.
I tell you what, thoughts, I had to calm myself down a lot. I had to believe. I had to look forward. I mean, when you have that time alone, when you're in a situation where it's, hey, you had an accident and you were recovering, you probably sat there and said, oh my gosh, to do this again, to do that. You had the conversations with yourself and realization. And if you hadn't had that, you would have probably never had the pauses you have now to
Right.
take time to be with yourself.
Right.
Would I agree? I mean, would you agree?
Well, I would have I probably wouldn't be here if I didn't do that stuff. But also, but also though, I have the tools now to acknowledge it, that it's like,
right.
hey, something's not right here. I don't feel well.
Right. But I'm just saying, what a blessing to realize that you had to slow down in life and actually take note of where you are and the opportunities and the surrealness of being right there by the pearly gates, and how things in a minute could have changed.
Yep.
I mean, 20 years ago, we had a house fire in this house. And Brian, let me tell you, I found out exactly what time the fire started. It started less than 15 minutes before I took my daughters out of this house.
Wow.
15 minutes.
Woo.
And I don't say that I almost died then, because that's not even one of my stories. But I'm just saying that would have been bless you. But what I'm saying to you is that even the realizations that you get in your life, if those don't slow you down to say, wow, it's just, again,
Well,
it's just.
And to give credit where credit's due, is that Jeffrey Gitomer talks about taking the long cut, right? Anything you do, take the long cut, because the shortcut is going to be a quick fix. It's going to be a magic pill. And anything that you want to do in life that really is going to matter and is really going to stick with you, you got to do it every day. It's the long cut.
Yep.
Don't,
I like
you know,
that.
and the shortcut is always readily available. And I would be willing to say that more society leans for the shortcut than they do the long cut, because when they look at the amount of work, or maybe they don't even realize how much work is involved or when this project is going to be complete, they throw their hands up as if I can't do this.
Yeah, we get overwhelmed really easy in this society. We also take the excuses to justify not doing.
Correct.
And hey, I've been one to do that myself. But I'm excited about this book, "Kick Your Excuses Goodbye," from somebody. He's become a good friend of mine. I've interviewed him as well. He's from Haiti, and so I'm looking forward to. Oh, Jeffrey Gittimore did his forward for him. Who would have thought?
The king of sales is everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, which, by the way, they're at a mastermind right now, Kevin or
the
Ken
final
and
day.
all them.
Yeah, the final
yeah,
day.
yeah. So, but anyhow, I say all that to say this: we truly need to face the fact that excuses should not be an option when it comes to the power of silence.
No.
And that's why I brought that book out, because
those are two words that I encourage everybody. I implore anybody that I talk to, that I know, that I care about, that I love, remove excuses and blame from your vocabulary forever.
Yeah.
Period.
And I mean, when I start telling a story, I'm like, you're effing telling a story. Because come on, Lynn, no one else is here right now. Let's talk about, it's an excuse. And like I said, I don't even, I've been having my protein shake in the morning, and I realized the timing isn't very good with the show because I start getting these little stomach pains or whatever. But I'm like, it's no freaking excuse. Pay attention when you're taking that freaking shake.
Yep.
I mean, okay, now mind you, there are trials and tribulations and things that happen. And I mean, I know that there's no excuses. Like, I can't, God's given me some excuses and put me in the hospital a few times, but I'm like, okay, so he wants me in a timeout right now. But it makes me realize that I've got to slow down, and I can't even tell you how the more I do spend time to be in the power of silence, the more calm I am, and the more I can laugh about myself, because I'm like, haha, you're trying to get an excuse. Like, I call my shit out every chance I get.
Well, and I think it's one of the biggest things that's been a journey for me for years is simplicity. I know where I want to be. I can only imagine what it's going to be like, because there's always going to be something else. Like, how far can you push your life to be simple, right? I got enough going on up here where I don't need any more complexity, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm a big idea person. I'm a big project person. I create a lot of content. I think of things and I got to write it down. Well, that's got to go somewhere, right? And so how do I take all that stuff and really make it simple on myself? I think that the power of silence will open up those opportunities, because your brain's not stressed to try to figure something out. It just comes to you. And it's like, who doesn't want to have that space of peace and for ideas just to flow, because you're not hard on yourself to try to find something to work? It blows my doors off. I mean, I can write an article or several articles or overcome a project that I was stuck on for a long time just by getting out of my own way and giving up the significance that I need to figure it out.
It's funny because you just reminded me how much I've missed doing a habit that I used to have. And I was like, I had the realization that I would buy so many notebooks because I would journal, but I have so many notebooks that I bought. I kept consistently buying the journals for the last couple, or compositions books for the last couple years, but I haven't been writing a note. So I've got probably a tote full of books or notebooks. But just the power of actually playing around and write down everything your brain is saying. and even if it don't make sense,
Right.
and then you read that shit, sometimes it impresses you. Have you done that?
Yeah. Well,
Is it,
I just looked at one this morning and I'm like, holy crap, like
I
I got a
wrote
lot of
that?
work to do in my life. I'm not, I'm getting better at it, but I wouldn't know what it's like if I ever got there to be on
Yeah,
top of it. Right.
yeah,
Because whether it's a printed or digital, but it's like somewhere where you can put all your stuff down. And the biggest thing I'd make myself wrong over is like when I'm thinking about it, then I can't, then I don't know where to look for the access it to go on a deeper
yeah,
level, you
yeah,
know? And to be just clear about like, okay, everything is in this notebook versus 3 notebooks. No, put it in one notebook and carry it with you everywhere you go. Right.
yeah,
It and then you work on one of those projects at a time, or you use those quotes in a piece one at a time, you know? But it's like we spend so much time being creative beings and coming up with ideas, but we're not helping ourselves if we need to access that stuff,
right.
you know? And there's been plenty of times when I've had writer's block when I got an article due in a couple days. Then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wake up early and I'm just going to sit here for a while. Then all of a sudden it's like by 8 a.m., 2 hours later, the article's written. You know, like,
You're you're reminding me that every time I do my shows and stuff, it's like at nighttime. It's like I like to be prepared way beforehand. There's that thing, right? But then there's the thing of that's not how my quiet time slash my intuition slash my creativity works. It's like, oh no, Lynn, you can panic for a little bit, but it's a pattern. I'll be at night, oh my gosh, I didn't get that done. Oh, I can't sleep tonight, blah blah blah. And in the morning, it's like, yep, here it is, Lynn. And I get all excited before my show because I'm prepared. And I'm like, but I want to be more prepared like in advance. And it's like, nope, it doesn't work that way, Lynn. You're an impromptu. You get ready when before you got to get ready. And it works every time. But every night I'm like, and why? Because I haven't calmed myself down. And in the morning, I take that time. And once I take that time, then gee, my spirit just gives me everything I need. How the freak does that happen, huh?
well, in what we need to acknowledge is we're how we who we want to be out in the world is a matter of us, our integrity, our work ethic, our actions. But it's like we need to give up being hard on ourselves because of something out of our control, or if we didn't get something done on a certain time, okay, re you know, man up to
Yeah,
your integrity,
yeah,
continue on with it and get it done.
yeah,
Like it blows my doors off. Like I know when I would be rehearsing scripts and stuff like that, and it would like I would get one word wrong and I'd beat myself up over it so bad. And then I'd have colleagues say, why are you doing that? The audience has absolutely no idea what you're going to say anyways. No
right,
idea.
right,
Now I'm not talking about a play or theater. I'm talking about when I'm a master of ceremonies at a wedding, right?
right.
Nobody has absolutely any idea what I'm going to say, but can I get them to hang on every word? Can I get them to feel something? Can I get them to engage with me? And then the next moment, the next moment, the next moment. That's the goal, not the stress of it's just words, but how
Yeah.
you use those words,
It
you
it's
know?
so it's so amazing how we paralyze ourselves by these excuses
Yep.
and paralyze us by the impossibilities instead of making them possible.
Well, and
You
we're all
know?
making this stuff up.
Yeah.
We're limiting ourselves, and it's like, well, wait a minute. And that's why we have blind spots. So then when you have somebody like a buddy of mine's like, man, why are you, you're going to be expounding so much energy on wedding day, but you're still sleeping the same what you do Monday through Thursday. Why are you not sleeping in a little bit? Because obviously your schedule is longer on wedding day, and you need to be firing from the moment you wake up to the moment you put your head on the bed the next day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it doesn't work unless you work.
Hmm.
You know,
And you got to figure when you work.
correct.
That's the thing. We don't, like I said, I'm trying to right before a long day and having my granddaughter and all this, I'm trying to be all creative. And my brain goes, no, Lynn, you're gonna be creative in the morning. And
Yep.
I know that, but
Yep.
why do I get in the frenzy? Oh no, I don't think I'm gonna get this done. Blah blah blah. Just
Well,
listen to yourself.
well, in any project that we do that we need to disrupt, probably hasn't been the first time we ever thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But then all of a sudden, oh, I got to take action now. Well, wait a minute. Just offhand, how many times have you been telling yourself that, and how long that project has been sitting there stagnant? But now is the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I witness it the same thing where it's like, I don't like that pile of papers there. Okay. How long has it been sitting there? Months. And then all of a sudden now one day I'm going to wake up and overcame all the meaning I gave to that pile of paper instead of taking a few pages off every day or
Yeah.
whatever. And then all of a sudden, oh, I don't got that pile anymore.
Yeah. It's just like my washroom. I got to go through the washroom, let the dogs out. And I'm like, next week I'm going to take this garbage out and I'm going to do this in this washroom. Not this week, that week. But of course I got to see how much room I have in my trash can, right? But this week, my daughter didn't get much garbage out. We literally have one can way open. So I'm going to achieve to fill that shit up today. And it's going to start from the laundry room so that I can walk. Because I've been doing that. Like, even in my room here, I mean, I did so much that my 8-year-old granddaughter goes, wow, you've been working around here. I'm like, shit, yeah. Because if I do put on the Netflix, I'm cleaning and doing something. So, you know, now I realize, okay, that's when I have to do my laundry. Boy, let's get the laundry done. Oh, let me get rid of the stack of papers. So I have to at least do that. So at least it does, not just sitting there and watching it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, sometimes you got to pay attention. And you're like lost. And I said, Lynn, if you get lost, that's okay. It's still running. It's still going.
Well, this just by your story, it
But
makes me think about how
it
much.
really is the okay, you didn't do that for that long. Yeah. Whoops, you just cut out. What did you say?
It just makes me think about how much more
Whoops, I can't hear.
We take it out of ourselves when we're not in action. But we don't acknowledge ourselves or give ourselves a pat on the back when we do take action. We do something great, like obviously Jeffrey Gitomer talks about, like, regardless if you get a business deal or you don't get a business deal, buy yourself something small to acknowledge yourself, right? Maybe it's a nicer shirt if you get the deal. Maybe it's a cup of coffee if you don't. Whatever that is, acknowledge yourself, because if you don't ever acknowledge yourself, how are you ever going to feel good about yourself? So it just, when you were talking about your laundry room, it makes me think about, we never acknowledge ourselves, even if we take action on something, right? Like, your laundry room, right? Wow, I got that done and I'm so happy, right? No. If anything, like, oh, wow, I'm glad that's done with, right? So it's like there's very, very little margin of difference between something you didn't get done and the things you did get done and how those interact.
Yeah. Well, lately, what I do, especially to reinforce that I want to keep things that way, I keep saying, how does that make me feel now that I finally did something that I've been procrastinating? Correct. And it's just like, I make my bed and I see the tank. Now I got my my bathrobe on the bed for him to kind of just, and I'm like, you know what? It irks me to see my bathrobe on my bed. Like, I just don't want to see nothing. But then I see him going to my pillows and he's got dander and I've got asthma. So I'm like, oh shit. So I need to give him that little robe. I need to compromise somewheres because I don't need him on my pillows because then I can't breathe at night. So I'm like, okay, we need to compromise. So, but yeah, I asked myself, how do you feel? And that's what we should do. We should ask ourselves, how do we feel that we took that moment, that time for us? Yeah. Because if you take that, how do you feel, and put it on your gratitude list and say, wow, it just, like I said, I'm excited because I am motivated. When I get off here, I'm going to have Clubhouse on and I'm going to that laundry room and I'm taking, I don't know how many bags out. I mean, it shouldn't be that bad, but I'm even going to just, yeah.
There's one more thing I want to share before we move to our final thought and question for everybody today, and to acknowledge all of our loyal listeners. Larry, Tracy, Mark, we thank you so much for being with Lynn and I today for day number 3 of self-help. And Friday we'll be with Christopher Rausch. And it's going to be awesome to do a little improv. And so we thank you all for being here, our loyal listeners, plus also those of you catching our replay. We're truly grateful you're here. is we all know like the cost of inaction, COI, thanks to Scott McCain, right? Is that we look at things ROI, like the return on investment. Well, what about the return on inaction? What about the cost of inaction? And so let's look at today's subject, about this power of silence from a standpoint of cost of inaction. We know what that feels like because we don't take enough time for ourselves, right? Whatever that is. And so imagine if you actually gave yourself that time in the morning or whenever that is, just to be one within yourself, right? So it's kind of a roundabout way where we know what that cost of inaction is because we do it all the time, right? We suffer from anxiety, depression, we all are running all over the place this day and age. So we know what the inaction part is. Right. But just imagine if we flip that script and reframe it from a standpoint of what that return could be on our investment by actually taking that action, right? Because obviously, if we know what the inaction is, it's going to be at least the opposite. How we're going to feel about ourselves is going to be entirely different than if we take no time for ourselves. So, just an insight.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is amazing. You know that you feel accomplished when you get something done.
Right.
But you also feel accomplished when you realize, wow, I gave myself a few minutes, and those few minutes gave me some peace of mind.
Well, it doesn't. How much value do you put on just being clear up here? Even if you didn't get anything done or you check something off the list, what is the power and what is the reward of frickin' having all that junk in your brain to be gone? Or things that you need to deal with, you actually do them and then just get rid of everything else. Mm-hmm. Instead of everything just manifesting and building up here, and you don't know which way to go. What side's up, what side's down, right, back, left, right.
Right.
What is that worth?
Yeah.
Where it's like, are these projects really necessary for me? Or can I just throw that away? Or I don't want to look at this anymore, so I'm going to be in action about it, right? To get to that place where you have less stuff to contend with, that's what we're trying to get everybody to. So the things that you are dealing with are important to you. They're valuable. They fulfill you and they have purpose. So today's action step in question is, what's one thing that will come from committing to a daily silence discipline? So if you already do this, Lynn and I would love to hear from you. But for those of you that are willing to take this on, what is one thing that you can clearly see if you take on a daily silence discipline, what that would be for you or what you would anticipate getting? We'd love to hear from you.
It would be cool, like in a month from now, to actually know what kind of difference that made to you. It's so subtle at first, and then it's obvious after. It's obvious after. If you do it for 30 days and you miss one day, I guarantee you'll notice a difference.
Well, and if anybody takes this on, don't be surprised if it's internal. It's maybe not anything that's quantitative or qualitative data. Like you did all this stuff, right? Consider that it starts here, and so it's like, what's one thing? And I think that the further we are disconnected from ourselves, the less likely we're going to look at ourselves in terms of like, wow, I just got more bounce in my step.
Brian?
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have a fog or not, but I don't think we, that quote or whatever information, did we play that yesterday?
I don't think so. No.
I can put this up here real quick.
So this is a quote I found the other day. Mark and Angel Chernoff are life coaches, and one of these years I'm going to get to their annual event that they do. But this was a point in question when we talked about decluttering the other day that I thought was very purposeful. So I just want to share this with you, and I sent it to Lynn, is that a simple life means getting rid of clutter and eliminating all but the essential. So you are left with only the things you truly value. So based on what I talked about just a few minutes ago about, whatever's purposeful, whatever has value, and whatever is fulfilling to you, focus on those things to get rid of all the rest. So,
I think I'm going to share that on Live, Love, Laugh Out Loud, and we'll share that on our pages. And then I wanted to make another note for tomorrow, that tomorrow we're going to be on at noon Eastern time, an hour sooner.
Yeah.
And so that's just so that you know, we'll be here an hour sooner.
Yeah.
So anyways, with all those things said and shared, we got through it, and we got look 2 seconds, it's gonna be an hour. All right, you guys, we are out of here. Have a good one. And oops, I got a comment here. Well, let's see
See you
what it is
tomorrow,
real quick.
everyone. Okay, what do
Oh
we got?
wait, I'm gonna try a 30-day challenge. Oh, I'm still unpacking for my move, and I still live simple. Awesome, Jackie.
Wow.
That's Steve's girlfriend.
Wow.
So,
who is it?
Steve's girlfriend, my friend
Steve's
Steve.
girlfriend. So Jackie, this is a great opportunity, and I know that some minimalistic people have done this, is that the boxes that you unpack, the ones that you don't unpack are the boxes to consider getting rid of, right? Because obviously it's like you pack up all your stuff. Well, is everything relevant? Does everything have a purpose? Or am I just bringing my stuff with me? So I'd be interested in finding, when you go through these boxes 3 months down the road, how many of them have, number one, not been unpacked? Number two is that as you're going through the boxes, are there things you no longer need? You know, by what we're talking about on our show this week.
All right. Well, hey, thank you, everyone. We are out of here.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.